Hi and welcome to this vlog, and you can probably guess from it I'm not going to be terribly happy or positive about the Netherlight Crucible. Not the first video I've done on it, but of course there's been a couple of things. First of all, Blizzard have said something about it in terms of the defense of the Netherlight Crucible. I was a little surprised, I have to say, because although I knew there was a fair amount of discussion on the forums, I sort of felt Blizzard had already preemptively tried to justify it before the patch went out, but you know, they have said something. I want to focus on a line they say towards the bottom here, because I think this is the crux of why I'm sort of doing this, for me, quite late on, rather than leaving it till tomorrow. And it ends up with them talking about a post on Reddit. It says, a final note, I saw the post on Reddit laying out 3 choices for relics, asking players which one they would pick. So a 930 item level Bish relic with blah, 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 blah. In other words, they're trying to, in this Reddit post, I guess, trying to say to people, how do you know which relic to use? Do you use the one that's highest item level, even though it's not got very good traits? Do you use the one with sort of medium item level with sort of okay traits, or do you use the low item level ones with really great traits? And of course, getting across the idea, the only way you could possibly accurately do this is to sim it. And the response here is the post responded by saying the only way to know is to sim it, of course. If you're generally a player who simulates gear upgrades to make decisions, you're probably going to do that anyway, and that's fine. Except it's not fine. I'm going to come on to that in a moment. If you're a player going off basic guidelines such as, I play a fire mage, so I want critical strike, you will get by as you always do in this situation and pick what you think is best for your particular class or spec. Yeah, sure, that's a fantastic way to deal with a Netherlight Crucible. We'll pick which one has the best looking name. You know, oh, that's a cool name. That sounds good. Oh, I like that icon. I'll have that one. Fantastic. And of course, there will be a great many players, if we're honest, who play very casually, and they won't even have damage meters or anything, so they won't ever know whether it's a good one for them. They might not even care, and that's fine. That's great. But then what we should probably say about the Netherlight Crucible, because ultimately those sorts of players, and you know, the ones at the very, very casual end, let's say the relic bugged out and did 0 damage, like did nothing. Would those players even notice? No. Okay, so should we say that the Netherlight Crucible are for people who have some interest in the power of their character? Instead of this, oh, you know, because the people moaning, ultimately what we're raiders, okay? And it's all right saying, oh, well, we're a small part of the player base, all these other people. Most of the other people, the people who wouldn't sim it, or at least wouldn't try and find out from some guide which ones are going to be best, those people don't care about it. You could have, you needn't have even put the Netherlight Crucible in for them. So I think there's going to be a disproportionate weighting towards us, you know, towards the Raiders or towards the serious player, the Mythic Plus Dungeoneer, something like that. And we are going to sim it. So this point about you're probably going to sim it and that's fine, it would be fine, but for one pretty obvious problem here. And that is you cannot change your traits. You pick particular traits and you cannot change them. One real criticism of the Netherlight Crucible has always been it's completely RNG. Now, I've sort of got away with it. I've got okay traits. They're okay. They're not, taking them into consideration, they're not fantastic, you know, but they're not bad either. But the problem is there are some people out there who do have the fantastic ones. Great for them. But equally, there are the ones out there for whom it may even matter that have the terrible ones. Like when I first went on the PTR, first copied my character, that one when I went onto the Netherlight Crucible, they were all useless. And I mean useless traits that I was getting. So I've been okay. I've got better than that. I've got reasonable ones. But the argument is it's pure RNG. It's, you know, there's nothing you can do if you're a more serious player to stack the odds in your favour. Well, I suppose from their point of view, they could say, well, if you're a serious enough player to bother simming it, you know, use Raidbot, Simcraft, something like that, then you stack your odds slightly in favour, because instead of just blindly poking at an icon, you have a rough idea of which combination is best for you. I did a video on sort of how to do that when the Netherlight Crucible became active. Now, where it goes badly wrong is, as I say, so let's say you've simmed it and you've gone, right, this path is best for me. You know, you put some thought into it, you've gone and done that. Your traits are locked, You can't change them. But why would you change them? Because you've got the best combination. Ha ha ha! Blizzard come along. Oh, yeah, we're not totally happy with these traits. We're going to buff one of them by 40%. We might nerf another one by 50% or something like that. They carry on tuning them like they carry on tuning everything. They've been doing it all the way through Legion. They don't care about the fact that we're part way through progress still, some of us, or that, you know, that the patch has already been out for a few weeks. They'll tune them right now because we think they need tuning, so that's what we're going to do. You've got situations where some of these, for example, do shadow damage. So, you know, balancing them would be so difficult anyway, because what about someone who gets extra shadow damage from their mastery? I was talking about this on the stream tonight, someone pointed out unholy DKs, for example. Have you balanced that? Have you considered that? Who knows? It's quite obvious, though, that they had not got them balanced before the Netherlight Crucible. In a situation, it's not like a talent where you can change it. In a situation where you are committing yourself, you cannot have a situation where they are not properly balanced in advance. And was it ever possible to balance them? Probably not. Which just highlights, as I say, the title of this, From Cock Up to Calamity. Because, you know, that's what it is. The whole concept of the Netherlight Crucible was not necessarily terrible. It's doing what we expected it to do. You know, we had the traits on our artifact weapon at the start of Legion, which is an extension of a talent. It's basically like a talent tree, only you don't choose, you just get everything. The only thing you choose is the path you take. 7.2 came out, we got an extension to that. It's like an extension of that extra talent tree. This is just the same sort of thing. So in concept, it's okay. But the implementation is god-awful. It's RNG on top of RNG with some whipped RNG on top of that and a cherry RNG on top of that. And you're locked into it so that when a new offer comes along, when suddenly the one you went, that is really good, has been nerfed, or, you know, the one at the other side has been significantly buffed, you're like, what the hell? What's just happened? I've put some thought into this. I've simmed it. That was the best path. Literally, it could be a few minutes later you see an announcement. Like, what have you just done to me? Seriously. Seriously. So let's go through some of the things they're saying in defense of this. Now, I have to say, this community manager, Onyx, has done exactly what I would do, by the way. They've gone through the thread. Instead of picking out the really awkward questions, they've picked out the ones that they feel are the easiest to argue against. All right, they've cherry-picked them, as you would. It's the internet, isn't it? You pick your own arguments, don't you? And if someone says something that you can't answer, you just drop the mic and just don't ever respond again. So, of course, there was the comparison with Reforging that was done. It says, we've been seeing a lot of discussion going back and forth on the Crucible lately. Of course you have. So we've had some conversation with the development team, and I wanted to pop in and share a few points that came out of it. Regarding comparisons to Reforging, Reforging was always a simple mechanical choice. It's not what you said when you gave the reason for why we're getting rid of it. You said it was because it's too complicated. Never mind, never mind. Players were, at the end of the day, simply replacing their worst stats with the best stats on every item that didn't already have your best stats up to a mechanical limit. The Crucible, by comparison, is only affecting a small subset of items and presents much more various situations. Now, they're making two mistakes here. The first of which is no one was comparing Reforging in terms of it being the same thing. It was that all the arguments for and against Reforging apply equally to the Netherlight Crucible. Equally. So either the Netherlight Crucible is good, in which case Reforging should be good, or the Netherlight Crucible is bad, in which case you can still say Reforging is bad. That's the issue with it. But the other thing is this. The idea that it's only affecting a small number of items. It's the most crucial items. Everything about Legion is about our artifact weapon. It's the be-all and end-all of everything. We spend the vast majority of our time trying to improve the power of our artifact weapon. Whether it's targeting Mythic Plus dungeons to get our Bis relics, whether it is just doing any old content to get AP, to get artifact levels, whatever it is, everything revolves around the artifact weapon. So to dismiss relics as just as small little bits of your equipment is ridiculous, all right? There's a way to... No one is going to view... Sorry, you're trying to yawn here. No one is going to view a relic in the same light as a pair of braces. You can't just assign it like that. There's a weighting here. So then the next thing they say is we've also seen a bit of discussion around players desiring the ability to respec the traits, okay, so just talked about that are locked on the second and third tiers of relics. We feel that the ability to respec traits, they actually said respect traits, we have no respect for the traits, would lead to players picking traits based on perfect optimization for any given situation, which could lead to players leaving a raid to change to AoE-centric traits for the next fight during raid progression. While we feel that's a nuisance in itself, this would also make the system feel like a watered-down version of talent rows. But that's what they are. They are talent rows. And would undermine the choice that is made when selecting your raid traits. But the problem is, we're making a choice, and then you're changing them. At the very least, and this would not be an elegant solution, but at the very, very least, whenever Blizzard change any of these traits, nerf them, buff them, whatever, they should give you, for the next 7 days, the ability to respec them. Why the next 7 days? You can't have it just like straight away, because the problem then would be you need to wait for the theory crafters to get Simcraft back up to speed with the nerfs and buffs, which might take a day or two, so you want to be sure that you'll be okay with that, because you are dropping them in the clarts when they've made a sensible decision and now the other decision was the correct one. And it's also the next point here, which is very, very insulting, particularly for raiders. That being said, relics are items and will be replaced. Oh, really? Okay, so you've got a 955 relic. How soon are we going to replace that then? Most of us don't, of course. But what if you did? You've chosen that path, now it's the wrong one. How soon are you going to be replacing what might be a 955 Bish relic? Or even just a high item level? I mean, I have a 945 and I have a 940, for example. How soon can I expect to replace those? Realistically. It's insulting. It's absolutely insulting. The whole issues around the Netherlight Crucible, which were totally foreseeable as well. So foreseeable, and we'd all said, everyone who took any interest in it and sort of commented on it said this was going to be a huge problem, and this is exactly what's happened. And it's so baffling to me. So much about Legion has been really, really good. So much about Argus has been good. And yet they constantly have to besmirch their good work by letting... I don't know who it is. Is it just one guy who has all these stupid ideas that somehow get through committee? But they just come up with these brainless ideas that are never going to work. Why not just change the system? It's not even like it was fun, this RNG. Someone suggested, it's quite funny, wasn't it? Someone suggested, oh, so RNG of this nature is fun, is it? How would you feel, Blizzard developers, if your pay packet was determined on this scale? So each month you had to click a button and see what pay you got within a certain range that month. Would that be fun? Would you find that enjoyable? No, I don't think so. I'll put a link to the post below, by the way, because I'm not going to link it in here because I'm having to do this really quickly. So minimal editing on this one. But let me know what you think down below. I strongly suspect I know. As I say, I've done a few of these videos already. But it's just baffling to me. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for the massive numbers I'm not saying it's massive at the moment, but tuning's already started. The fact that they've already done it after the Netherlight Crucible has come out sort of suggests that they could easily do it again. Or even, I mean, sometimes leaving it alone is not necessarily brilliant either, because if you have a situation where a particular class or spec massively, unexpectedly benefits from a particular trait, then you're going to make those overpowered as well in some respect. Anyway, I'm going to finish it off here and go to bed. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share for further content. And until next time, I'll see you later.